If you don't know what SASS Concepts is, or if you're curious about precision rifles, we build everything from the beginning. So we take and look at your requirements for your rifle. It could be hunting, it could be competition, it could be contracting or military or law enforcement work. And I try to sit down with you and look at all of your requirements of whatever your goals or objectives are. And then we build a rifle muzzle to stock for that purpose. And I'm sitting there, conversing with you, talking with you about why those things matter or what they do, and why they fit you best. Kind of want to just talk today about not only the rifle, but why it fits the purpose for the customer. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I met Dan here and was shooting a fair bit of competitions for short range, and had seen a lot of long range guys just reaching out and touching targets, and started getting interested in it and understanding the ballistics and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't know where to begin, really. And Dan really came to me and was like, we can help you solve your, I don't have the time to research and spend hours on the internet trying to find stuff, or even like getting to touch things and see stuff. And he was able to, with his experience, guide me in a direction to produce a rifle for me that's ready to go off the shelf. I'm quite busy and just don't have the time, but I want to be able to compete and also maybe do some hunting and some other things. And so when he sat down with me and walked me through this, he came up with an awesome rifle. It's beautiful, and it fits the aesthetic not only, but also my goals. But yeah, hunting and competition was my goal, and but mostly competition and doing long range. And I'm excited to be out here today and shoot it, and get a little tutorial on how to be a shooter.
Yeah, man. And the entire process, I got to say, was it was phenomenal. I really enjoyed walking you through and trying to educate you on the different aspects, and it kept me honest too, to look through all the different features and double and triple check them, so I really know whether it's you or I have other customers or contractors coming through, that I'm telling them exactly what the hard facts are. And I think that's really hard to get in the industry. I think there's some fluff that can come out. There's people who are very biased towards certain brands, but I try to, especially at SASS Concepts, just try to stay unbiased to whatever it is. I personally use Nightforce. We did pick a Nightforce here. That was after explaining all the different options. Customer picked that. I didn't pick that. I always make sure that the customer is informed, but they are not. They are never heavy-handed into any one optic or choice of any thing. It's always about to get the customers informed and they make the final decision. So why don't we go muzzle to stock here and then just kind of talk about what we got going on. So well, we don't have a suppressor here today. The customer does have a suppressor coming in, so we have a bare muzzle for now. But moving on back from that, we have the MDT GRND POD. That's a carbon fiber bipod. It works a lot like an Atlas, so you can expect to have those different 45 and 90 degree little detents where that's going to be set it in. There's also one less detent on the rear, so you can actually pull it to the rear and have a faster deploy to the 90 degree or center line there. So it's kind of a nice balance between having something like a Harris, where you come to expect a quick deploy, and something like an Atlas, where you're being able to get those different 45 degree angles. And so for here, it's actually helped a lot. And the extendability of the bipod is very fast and easy to use. There's no depressing. It's simply a pull and release into whatever detent you want in that length of bipod. Very easy to use, and then very easy to cinch back together. I mean, you've kind of used it on the range a little bit now.
Yeah, we got to play with it a little bit, and bipods are new for me as like a tool to be used, and it's simple to use. It also is super light. I know the rifle overall is heavy, but going with a light option to be able to use that on other rifles that I may be using in the future. It's not just he's building just this rifle, but he's also thinking of like the consumer as a whole. Like that tripod may go great on the next build. But it's light enough, but I didn't feel like I was going to break it. I have a tendency to break equipment, as I've explained to Dan, consuming lots of things and breaking them. But it's held up so far, and I think it's going to hold up for the duration.
Yeah, I really like too the the angular cant adjustment. Sometimes you're just shooting off uneven ground. It's really a frustration to want to have to pull out your bipod and get that extra notch, and it's not very precise. So being able to have that cant adjustment up on the front, be able to adjust it, and then just get your rifle level and set is a really helpful feature, and not hard to overcome, but also does lock in place, doesn't move around on you. Of course, the ARCA adjustment on the knob too is super helpful. You've got a full length ARCA rail on this chassis system, which we'll talk about in a bit. But very easy to move and adjust, and stays right where it needs to.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I think moving back from the bipod, then we'll talk about the chassis, since it's really kind of the big piece here. This is a Zermatt Matterhorn. This is the walnut paneling that they've got going on. A few people have used this, but we went with the black aluminum, and then on the dark walnut. Again, customer thought that was really the aesthetic that they wanted. And I have to say, like, even though, you know, you've seen my rifles, they definitely have more of a tactical feel to them, kind of a more, Remington or kind of old style like that. This style here is actually really, really a nice piece. And people who have actually already seen this rifle from doing some shooting have also really appreciated it. It is a bit heavier than you come to expect from maybe a more traditional look, but definitely very structurally solid. Definitely getting behind the gun, very comfortable getting behind the gun. Kind of just some features here. It's got a full length ARCA base here. It obviously takes standard AICS magazines through the magwell here. You do have a barricade stop too, so if you end up getting close up on barricades, this is not going to impede your magazine. You got a bit of a texturing on the grip here with kind of a swept style here, not straight down. Actually talking with Zermatt Arms about this, they do prefer that most people go with the swept, and that customers who have purchased the flat grip or the straight down grip have wanted to return back to the swept style. So, and I think the customer agrees that that is a positive. Definitely felt good in the hands while using it. Moving on back, then you also have a adjustable cone piece and a butt plate here. So this actually comes loose, and so you can actually go up and down. There's a little bit of a ratcheting system there. You can lock it in place where you want. Same with the floor plate and the comb. You can loosen it here and then kind of adjust it to how you like. And what's nice is there's actually another base plate here that you can actually set, and that keeps the floor just where you want it. So if you ever have to take that comb piece out, it goes back to the exact same place you always wanted it. So there's no fiddling around if you ever have to do cleaning or maintenance, which is a big positive.
Absolutely, and putting other people on the rifle too. I think being able to adjust it for different shooters, I think sharing this experience with others is a huge part of kind of what I've enjoyed in the past. And so putting them behind and having them shoot 1,000 yards fairly easy, and making it more custom to them is easy to do, and easy to return back to me, because at the end of the day, I'm the end user.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of benefit in that when you're getting other people into precision too. When they see, wow, this is what modern precision rifles can do. They're comfortable to get behind. They're not sloppy or bulky or heavy. They're really well-tuned, refined machines.
Yeah.
So let's go then, I guess, up top. I mean, the barrels, other than the action, is really the life of what we got going on here. So this is actually a Bartlein blank turned by Southern Precision Rifles. Actually not too far from where SASS Concepts is. Great people to talk to, very, very excellent machinists in terms of building out the rifle. So 24-inch 6.5 Creedmoor, 1-in-8 twist, nothing necessarily special there. Shoots the 140 grain barns that have been used super well. Again, customers already hit 1250. Again, I'm making this clear, not a precision shooter, does not get into things as nearly as heavy as some other clients I've worked with, but this rifle is performing well, and just with some data that I was able to push to him, knowing some of the velocity that he was getting out to 1250 within a foot of his intended target, which is,
it was pretty impressive to be behind. I grew up shooting older guns, 30-30s, and a bunch of FUD lore, as the kids would say. But being able to go out on a first range day and hit a foot and a half from my target at 1250 blew me away, honestly. And I think that's another experience. It's not as complicated as people make it to be, but it can get very complicated quickly. And having Dan sort through what's true and what's not true, and what's helpful and what's just excess, to get you information and skill to impact the targets you want to hit was like honestly mind blowing to me, and people I've shown and told that story to are like, you can't do that as a new shooter. I shoot 11.5, 5.56 all day, never reach more than 500, and to shoot 1250 in the first go, that's a testament to knowing the mission and knowing your business, really.
Yeah, and that's what honestly makes me really happy too, is to be able to help guys like you out, not knowing this realm and saying, hey, let me help you make those, keep you away from those mistakes, help you build the right rifle the first time, right? Because everybody knows that this stuff is extremely expensive. It sucks when you don't get it right. And so SASS's mission, along with precision for a purpose, has always been build it right the first time. And I think that's really what we've done here. So I'll go and continue on, I guess, absolutely, with the action. So the action we've got here, again, the Zermatt arms, also known as Bighorn, but it's got their origin action. Great piece, honestly. I mean, you're looking at about $1,000 for an action that is, from talking to multiple people, you're talking within a half thou of machining tolerance there. So that if you're getting a pre-fit barrel or something like that, it's going to work phenomenally. After I had installed it, I mean, no hesitation about any of that head spacing or anything. Obviously double check the head spacing, but still just a phenomenal action. The machining, even though the top rail on the 20 MOA rail is pinned, so there's 2 set pins that it sits in and the screws that set into that, still very sets in there very well, and it's shaped for it. So
and on that note, this is obviously a fairly expensive rifle, and you buy once, cry once kind of thing, but Dan's experience was not to just sell you the high and mighty stuff. Like he was just saying the top rail was pinned versus being the entire thing machined. My life currently is not riding on this rifle. And so to me, if my life was, he's like, absolutely no hesitation. We're going to get a machined complete thing. And that way you're less likely to bump it in a situation where you need it to stay true. But he saved me money where it doesn't matter in my circumstance and what my desire is, instead of just trying to upsell me to a completely machined action with the rail together.
And that's a great point. I have another customer whose life will depend on the rifle, and they do have a machined in rail, and that matters more to them. And there is an upcharge for that, but that made sense to the person, right? Absolutely. So we put the value where it mattered most, without compromising on the quality of the entire system as a 100%. Whole. So then moving on up past the action, we've got the Nightforce ATACR 5-25. You guys are probably pretty familiar with this. I think the biggest selling point of this optic, other than being from the Nightforce brand, you get that durability and repeatability. Sometimes people see like those as the same thing, but you can have a durable optic that's not going to lose zero, but then you have a repeatable optic that's going to, as this customer continues to dial and dial and dial, it will always track true. And that's really important when you're shooting at the distance. You don't want to know if you dialed 0.1 or 0.2 over, even though it says on the dial, 9 mils or 5 mils or whatever. So I think one of the best things I love about the ATACR too, illumination's super great, but the parallax is so forgiving on the Nightforces. Most guys just set it to about 200 to 300 meters and leave it at that. And as they're zooming from about 12 to 18x, it just continues to perform phenomenally through mirage, through dark conditions, light conditions, everything.
Yeah,
so
we were using it today. It's kind of cloudy. That we're using a spotting scope that's a little bit lower quality, and it's dark. I mean, looking through that spotting scope, it's dark compared to looking. I'd rather look through this than a spotting scope. It's for target acquisition and stuff like that, and getting my dad behind the rifle. Our eyes, as they say, aren't like they used to be for him, and he's able to use 25x no problem and get down on the rifle, and with some coaching, perform just as well as I did.
Yeah, shot it to 1,000, right?
Yeah, dad shot to 1,000. So
yeah, no, that's great, and yeah. Again, have a 5-25 ATACR on mine as well. Love it. It still fits well on this more, definitely more traditional style here, but even on both kinds of builds, fits perfectly. Yeah. So,
and I will say too, I didn't even know the difference between MOA and mil. I know that's probably common knowledge to most, but I wanted to get into this and didn't know, and it's hard to explain. And Dan sat down with me during the original building process. He did that a few times and was like, okay, like this is why I suggest mil. This is why I don't suggest MOA, or vice versa. I didn't grow up shooting. I was around MOA rifles, didn't know how to use them. And he's like, because you don't have that background, we suggest you go into mil just because it's more standardized across the industry. And we can make that more standardized across other builds that I'll obviously be doing in the future with you after this experience. So just little details like that may not seem big, but I don't know what MOA and mil is, and I do now, and especially with that book that comes with it, like I can reference that throughout the process of trying to become more lethal or more proficient, as they say, with this in the hunting world and competition.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I've had customers come to me too with various budgets, and they've said, "Hey, I know MOA my whole life. I'm looking to get into mills," or "Hey, I'm MOA. I just want to stick to it." And I never try to push someone one way or another. I always just try to say, "Hey, educate." Say, "Hey, 90% of shooters are going to be mills. It's in your probably best interest to use mills, but don't feel like if you and another guy are both MOA shooters, great, go run it, right?
Yeah.
And if you know, if you had been interested in MOA and were dead set on it, we would have got you an MOA skill. You know, they have the MOA XT as well. Good point about that too. The MIL XT reticle is the one we picked.
Yeah.
Really nice for spot shotting, or you know, spotting your shots there. But you know, it was between that and something like a more traditional T-style reticle. But I think the MIL XT will serve its purpose across this rifle or any other purpose you have it, maybe in the future. So, so I guess you know, if you have a scope, you have to mount it in something. So we went with the Nightforce Ultra Mount Extreme Duty. You'll notice that there's a little bit of a cantilever here. This is actually the mount pick for US SOCOM. So it can go on both gas guns and bolt guns, and it fits really well at home here, I would say.
Yeah, you were talking about that too, and even the bipod, like you can put this on different things, deciding if your goals and expectations change, or if you need to change missions, we can move this equipment around, and having the ability to shoot a gasser, which today I think I could take a look at your 6.5 gasser, which I may have to put down the coin for now.
I know a guy,
yeah. I can take this scope without having to buy a completely new one if I so choose, and put that on a gasser and run it. And I like the versatility. It's still purpose built, but it's still versatile. And you're trying to get that. No, a Swiss Army knife's not good at cutting out a tree, but it can do a lot of things all right. And it's not that Swiss Army knife. It does everything great, and it's versatile.
Yeah, exactly. And there's benefit to that too, not having to get a new mount. Like on some unit mounts, you know, it's harder to know, well, that's only goes on a bolt gun. I really can't use this for a gas gun. It doesn't look right? But having that mount have versatility is definitely a big benefit too. And then, so I think the final thing we could talk about here is, you know, we've got a level there that is the Flatline ops. I think the Halo X ring, something like that. That's the level we got set there. We kind of went back and forth on a few options, and there's levels you can put on scopes. You can put them on your rail. And so, but I think the least obtrusive one, and that's what we talked about, the least obtrusive one was this Flatline ops one. I think that proves correct. You can still see your parallax. It's not getting in the way of your windage or elevation turret, obviously. And it's not, you don't risk breaking it because it's all machined aluminum there, and then it's setting rigidly in there. Yeah. Some of those flip out ones, there's a lot of leverage in there, so if something bumps against it, you could crack it or break it or hurt the spring or anything like that. So absolutely. I think it's still a good choice there. So, and
like as a new shooter too, like not even knowing that a level was important, you know, shooting 5.56 11.5s, like you're not checking to see if your level, and explaining why a level is important. You know, I'm not a carpenter, I don't know why I need a level, but having that checklist of, okay, these are the steps you need to do before you shoot a stage with a long range rifle, and level being one of them is super important.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I think, you know, just looking at the entire package now that we've kind of gone muzzle to stock here, it's a beautiful rifle. And not only is it a beautiful rifle, it's a precision built, purpose built rifle for everything that you're going to do in the future. And you can comfortably take this, you know, as you begin your long range shooting journey, not only to like, to the range, but say, you know, I feel comfortable. I don't have to change anything now. I can go compete with this, right? And if I want to go do something more, if I want to take it on hunt, again, a bit heavy for hunt, you can change something out with just 2 chassis screws, right? Yeah. And you have a completely new rifle. But it's something that will last you in a variety of circumstances, and something you can count on. So
I'm excited. It's going to be going out west to some big country, and we're definitely going to stretch it out. And so I plan for a hunt this coming spring, maybe for some speed goats, if I get the permit, government permitting, pun intended. And yeah, I think the aesthetic really fits. I'm kind of a newer style. He shoots a lot of tactical stuff, but I love driving old Land Rovers and the wood and classic shotguns. And I wanted to be able to blend the worlds together, and this rifle seemed to do it really well for me. The chassis alone just has already caught my eye, and I'm really excited to show it off with the lifestyle too.
So. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. You know, it's And if you have questions too about building rifles, or you have questions about maybe even modifying a current build you have and you're not sure what pieces and parts, it is a vast industry, and there are numerous options to pick from. Give me a call, send me a DM, whatever. I am happy to sit down and talk with you and look at what you got, and then kind of assess, baseline it from there, and kind of see what direction you would like to move in next. Because there is a lot here, but I love talking with guys about their next build, or whatever they want to change or fix. So anything else?
Yeah, I think just one reason I went with SASS too was the ability to call them and help problem solve. I'm on the road a lot. I'm changing environments a lot, and I can call him and be like, hey, like, I'm in this completely new environment. I'm at this, shop that only sells this type of ammo. What's your experience with this ammo, and what's it going to do out of my gun? And he already knows that. He knows he's shot that ammo before. He's got experience with that ammo. He's got experience with this barrel length and all that. And so he can help me get on target when I'm on the road. Traveling with ammo is hard. Traveling with guns is hard. And so I don't want to travel with ammo sometimes based where we're going. And he has experience with all of that. And being a phone call away, even if it's a sat phone, he'll answer. It's definitely going to get me out of a few pickles, I can guarantee it.
Yeah, man. Well, it was a pleasure to build this rifle, man. I'm so glad you love it. And yeah, if you have any questions, go to, you can find me on Instagram at SASS Concepts. That's SASS Concepts, all one word. You can find my website, www.sassconcepts.com. Post most of the stuff on Instagram, but website there, everything you need to know about SASS and starting that process is all there. But anyways, that's all for today. And
excited to go shoot. Let's put 4 more rounds in it.
That's right. All right. See you later.